Okay, no notification yet, so that's not a good sign. Uh-oh.
for this moment to stand up and on the top. While you crawl and you climb, I have carved out this line that I walk into victory. Yeah, I'll tell you one time, look me straight in the eyes. It has always been me. So go tell it on the mountain. Who's gonna be the king? Go tell it on the mountain. Gotta make 'em all believe. Yeah, the darkness is fading, the battle's been raging, the war has already been won. Go tell it on the mountain. Oh, the mountain. Who's gonna be the king? Tearing down all the statues that you built this life around. I'm gonna raise up our banners and watch your world crumble down. Like the phoenix inside, from these ashes I'll rise till everyone bows beneath. Yeah, I'll tell you one time, look me straight in the eyes. It has always been me. Go tell it on the mountain. Who's gonna be the king? Yeah, go tell them on the mountain. Oh, you gotta make 'em all believe. Yeah, the darkness is fading, the battle's been raging, the war has already been won. Go tell it on the mountain. Oh, the mountain. Who's gonna be the king? You gotta tell them on the mountain. You gotta make 'em all believe. You gotta tell them on the mountain so they can all see who's gonna be the king. King of the world. Oh, rise if I ever get close to you. All eyes on my every move now. Whoa, yeah, whoa, yeah. Strike fear in the heart of the people. Bow down in the presence of lethal. Whoa, yeah, whoa. If you wonder what to call me, if you're finding that the words are falling short, if you wonder what to call me, if you wonder what to call me, you can call me king. You can call me king of the world. You can call me king. You can call me king of the world. You can call me king. Come on, you can try to come at me. In a second, you'll be wondering what's happening. Whoa, yeah, whoa, yeah. On your knees and you're begging for mercy. Your own blood tells you that you're unworthy. Whoa, yeah, whoa. If you wonder what to call me, if you're finding that the words are falling short, if you wonder what to call me, if you wonder what to call me, you can call me king. You can call me king of the world. You can call me king. You can call me king of the world. King of the world. me king of the world. You could call me king. You could call me king of the world. You can call me king. You can call me king of the world. You can call me king. You can call me king of the world. You can call me king. You could call me king. You could call me king.
Guys, get in a selfie. Oh, this phone has cut half my mates out. And
Woke up in the back seat, all alone 'cause the girl is gone. Whiskey in my coffee, it feels right, so it can't be wrong. I'll take another, I'll take another. Oh, it seems like a mother. Keep the feeling, keep the feeling. Oh, I'm gonna take what they're dealing. I always go too far. Feel the thrill and the danger. I'm trouble, oh, I'm a whole lot of trouble. I'm trouble, oh, I bet it all on the devil. You know I'm trouble, you know I'm trouble, you know I'm trouble, trouble. Ho! They'll say that you're reckless when you live like a renegade. They'll say that it's hopeless, that you're gone and you can't be saved. What do they know? What do they know? Oh, I ain't afraid just to let go. Keep the feeling, keep the feeling. Oh, you never know what I'm stealing. I always go too far. Feel the thrill and the danger. I'm trouble, oh, I'm a whole lot of trouble. I'm trouble, oh, I bet it all on the devil. You know I'm trouble, you know I'm trouble, you know I'm trouble, trouble. Huh. Hey. Trouble. Trouble. Feel the thrill and the danger. Here comes trouble. Feel the thrill and the danger. Here comes trouble. You know I'm trouble. You know I'm trouble. You know I'm trouble. 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 Feel the thrill and the danger.
It's not a myth.
we've been told this life we live can be our own. There's more to gain than battle scars. It's time to make forever ours. Make it ours. We are living legends. We'll see our stories written in every constellation. We are living legends. We are living legends. We are living legends. It's not enough that history will remember us. We'll rise above, nothing to gain if we don't try. We will be heroes of our time, of our time. We are living legends. We'll see our stories written in every constellation. We are living legends.
Hello, guys, and welcome back to the Valanth League stream. Now, this is the first round of the Hextech Cup, and our match today on, I believe this is stream 1, is Centurion versus Legion. I am your host, Byron Villa, and joining me today is the lovely Gooey J. That was a really cool rhyme. How you doing, Gay?
I'm good, thank you.
Oh man, I'm really looking forward to this matchup. Both these teams have had changes, either in front of the scene or behind the scenes. Legion, they've lost their coach in Looney, which you could argue is an upgrade, argue is a downgrade, depending on who you ask. And CNT, they have a new support in Fugu, a new jungler in Tartus, and Drigger is coming into the mid lane thanks to a few people leaving the squad, unfortunately for them. They are going to... I don't know if they lose bans or not, because they did notify in time. We'll have to see how that one unfolds, but...
No, it doesn't seem to look like it. We jumped straight into the pick and ban phase, and straight away we got the got taken away and the Vladimir.
Yeah, got a big pick for North. He really likes that one. And then Sivir, great pick for Jokery. He loves playing that, getting the push down. And I'd expect an Orianna ban being the third one. It's a very, very big ban versus Legion. They love this Orianna pick. I believe, I don't know if the stats are still correct, but they were undefeated with Orianna. And
yeah, and it's going to be taken away straight as you say that, as you expect, really. I mean, it's good to get rid of the Sivir as well, especially when they've got a new support coming in on the Legion side. It gets that comfort pick from the AD carry away as well, doesn't it?
yeah, and Trigger maybe feeling a little bit targeted here. The Sandra goes, the Wonk goes. I think Vladimir is maybe a blanket ban versus Simon or Drigger. I'm not sure if one of them plays it super hard. Maybe they do. Haven't been paying too much attention, but the Sejuani coming out for Nafu, very solid pick in the jungle, and into the Java, it can kind of block a few of those engages as the Jinx comes out.
Yeah, I think it's pretty clear they wanted what junglers each team really wanted here, and it's good to lock the Jarvan in really, because it doesn't really show much of your composition. Then to the counter side of that, you get the Sejuani with the engage to basically follow up or re-engage onto the Jarvan when he comes in at you, and it looks like they've locked in the bot lanes straight away as well, or are planning to.
Yeah, I mean, Kai'Sa Fresh, that's a fairly good bot lane, but into Jinx Morgana, I'll be honest, I'd probably favour the Jinx Morgana in the lane, just because of the fact that Kai'Sa doesn't necessarily have that range advantage, and Jinx of those rockets can do a lot of damage at the expense of a bit of mana. The only issue is that if you look at the jungle matchup, I reckon that Java can get that extra little bit of burst down, and I think if you can catch out Jokery on this Jinx, and then get a fresh Death Sentence, get Kai'Sa going in with Void Rush, and all of a sudden, the all-in is incredibly scary, but at least in the just 2v2 laning in terms of the poke, you're looking at Legion's bot lane to start taking a little bit of initiative in that kind of front.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I personally would have preferred to see the Tam Kench locked in here because it counters into the Thresh. You've also obviously got the Sejuani with the melee based champions. I think that would have been a really good pick. It would have kept Jinx safe as well. But we'll see what they do with the Morgana in this matchup. Especially since Morgana still has the Black Shield to deny that Thresh hook and stuff like that. But I feel that potentially in this there could have been a Tom Kench pick here, which would have been which could have been more interesting in terms of the lane. But we've got Lux banned and Jax banned from the side of Legion, and we've also got Sion banned and Syndra banned from the side of Centurion.
Oh, Renekton pick blind in the top lane, unless they're accepting the Draven to go top side. This is an incredibly potent pick on this patch. It's been incredibly aggressive. I think it got a few little buffs, or at least Conqueror came in. Never mind, yeah, it was Conqueror. And Renekton is now a big monster in this top lane. Could really take a big lead. And Simon now has to be a little bit careful, but Simon is a very sort of top laner in his own regard. And so I want to know what he's going to pick into it as the Ahri who's out for X Trigger. That's a nice aggressive matchup. Now,
I think, yeah, I think that the Renekton, for example, is a good pick here. But I think that blind picking it potentially, obviously, unless the Jarvan's top side, is always a risky play as well because there's so much that you can do against it as well. There are definitely counters for it, and then obviously locking in the Ahri on the side of Trigger. Obviously, he's not known for his mid lane play, but he's been stepping up for the last couple of weeks or so, and Ahri is quite a good safe pick into most matchups, really. From what's left.
And it's the flexibility that Ahri offers that I really like. You can go aggressive, you can win those lanes, you can play this kind of big aggressive win lane style, which he does like to do on picks like LeBlanc. But then you can also take that backseat. If you do start losing out there, but there's a Karthus mid lane.
That's quite an interesting pick there, definitely. I'm not really sure what to make of this Karthus pick into Ahri. It's not something that I would have opted for myself. I think that it'll be interesting to see how he does throughout the lane because Karthus is known as quite an immobile champion, especially into an Ahri. I wouldn't be surprised to see a cleanse coming out for sure on this Karthus, definitely with the Ahri charm.
Yeah, and I mean the Karthus pick offers you a lot in this matchup because here's the thing: we know that Trigger, now that the match has been locked in, you look at that matchup and you're expecting the Ahri with the ignite that he's took to go in, go aggressive, and I quite like the Karthus in the regard that you can very easily just play safe in lane. Sure, you're very immobile, but you can massively Q, stay very healthy, as long as you don't get ganked by the Draven and you're in a very vulnerable position, which hopefully Jinx won't be in. If he's able to avoid some of those ganks, get to that mid to late game, Karthus is an absolute monster. We've seen him in the jungle recently because he's been able to pick up the free farm, just sail to late game, and then he just destroys people. And they're gonna hopefully try and replay that in the mid lane because he is able to do that. Now, my only worry for them is that they might struggle against the Draven and the Thresh engaging onto them. With the RE2, there's a lot of engage on the side of Centurion, and sure, whilst they have the Morgana to try to kind of peel off, those are your only real big peel tools, other than maybe a Karthus wall, a stretch. So,
yeah, I mean, on this team composition, really, what Karthus is trying to do is pretty much going to die in the fight. He's pretty much going to go for that suicide play into the enemy team while they're jumping onto his team, and then potentially get the re-engage from the Sejuani while the Morgana's locking them down with her ultimate. I can see what they want to do with it, but I do feel that if it doesn't play out perfectly for them, I feel that there's too many tools for Centurion here to get around that team fight with the Kaisar mobility, the Ahri, the Jarvan flag and drag straight onto the Jinx, who's very immobile anyway. Thresh with the Lantern gives the team a lot of mobility as well to get out of fights if they don't want to be in them. So I do feel that there's a lot that Centurion really here have locked in, which almost, I mean, I feel like they almost countered the other team's composition without actually knowing what they picked.
Yeah, I do quite like Legion's composition on a kind of isolated area because there are big cover picks. I mean, you got Narfu and Sejuani who loves that pick. You still got Jokeri on that hyper carry at bot lane who can push in very nicely. There are things that kind of highlight to me, okay, Legion can really do something here, and I'm not going to write it off just because of comps. But
no, of course.
It's hard to say that Centurion don't have the better comp here. They have all the tools to go aggressive. They have the Kaiser for the late game insurance, and I read her in the top lane should be able to hold her own against Renekton if she doesn't overextend. And who knows, maybe a gank from Draven can turn that top lane on its head. All of a sudden, Simon has priority, and then this Renekton becomes very, very useless very, very quickly. So,
yeah, definitely. I feel though that within the pick and ban, from what we looked at there, I think that locking the Karthus in potentially before the Renekton would have been a better idea because they would have. I think they would have pretty much played Carthus into anything, and then they could have got a positive top matchup. Obviously, I'm not saying this isn't a positive top matchup for Necton and Niverelli. It's generally quite even, but it would have been good to get North on something that's going to be definitely a lot stronger in the top side, so that they can use that later on to scale their team. Because with the Jinx, with the Carthus, there's a lot of late game power here, but there's not so much, say, pre 25 minutes. Whereas you look at the Centurion side, and you've got Irelia who can do a lot of damage before then. Ari can get the burst out. Jarvan's going to be a high pressure early jungler. Thresh has the tools to be able to allow plays to be happening in the bot lane to get Kaisar the extra kills. So I think throughout, obviously Kaisar then scales on late game. I feel that she scales better than Jinx into the composition that Jinx is sitting in now, because Jinx doesn't really have the peel for it. So I do feel that obviously composition wise, it does look like it's going that way, but it'll be interesting to see how it really turns out overall. But I think that with the Renekton, I think he's going to be relied on heavily in this composition to actually win that matchup out, or at least have a positive matchup coming out of it.
Yeah, and I am looking forward to see how that one unfolds, but a lot of this is going to come down to how the jungler's path. I think there are a lot of matchups that are quite volatile. The top side, very big example, 2 Conqueror champions, they're going to be looking too aggressive. And on the other side, I'd actually say the bot side, like I said, Kai'Sa Fresh, I think they are going to get poked out, but if they get the all in with a Jarvan and Cataclysm, Fresh going in, it's going to be a lot of damage. But on the other side, if Kai'Sa gets cut out by a Sejuani gang, I think that could also turn into the favor of Legion. So it's all about where these junglers path, where they're going to take control, because with the way it's looking, top side is going to be very volatile. But the problem is, do you really want to invest that much priority top side when there's going to be a dragon coming up bot with these big hyper carries that you could get ahead? It's going to be really interesting to try and get into these junglers' heads and really see what they think.
Yeah, and I feel that also another thing that we should be looking at here as well in this matchup, as well as the jungle matchup, is the bot lane matchup here as well. Because what we saw from last week from Fu-Q in the support line for Centurion here is he played Thresh last week. It was a good proficient performance. He showed what he could do on that champion. Obviously, them allowing it through here and then picking the Morgana into it must feel like they've got something against it. But I feel that as a general Thresh player, if you know how to play around that champion, Morgana is a common pick into it, and I feel that he will know what to do to sort of put up against that pick really, and I feel that will be something to watch as well as we go into the game.
Yeah, it certainly will be. Let's very quickly introduce the teams though. On the blue side, we have Centurion. Sunny and Ferocious will be picking Irelia in the top lane. Tartus has took Jarvan in the jungle. Drigger has Ari in the mid lane. Nightmare Thor going for the KDA Kai'Sa in the bot lane. And Fu-Q took his signature Fresh in support. Do you want to take the other team?
Yeah, of course. And on the Legion side, we got North in the top lane playing the Renekton. And we've got in the jungle, we've got Nafu on the Sejuani. We've got Junk Taxa on the Pentakill Karthus there in the mid. And then we've got Jinx and Morgana making up the bot lane, played by Jokery and Serencia. Is that the right way of saying that? Serenica. There you go. Sorry, my inability to read that name is quite embarrassing.
It is perfectly fine. We'll see if anyone's performance is embarrassing this game. I'm sure there'll be a lot of trash talk afterwards. But we'll have to see how this one plays out. Now, I'm still on the screen.
As am I. As am I. It's taken some time to load here, but it'll be interesting to see overall when we do finally get into the game. Hopefully there's no pauses or anything of the like.
Oh, man. Can't be a good pause. It's classic VL. Unfortunately, I don't think we have one right now. This is the first game. Cheery, don't worry, I got you back. But now, looking at this game, I still want to keep my eyes on this top matchup, honestly, because I think mid lane we know how that's going to play out. Karthus scaling, are they going aggressive? I think bot lane, we've discussed that a little bit. The Fresh into Morgana matchup, super interesting to see how those black shields kind of come into play, and if.
I think with the bot lane, I think with the bot lane matchup, it's more about the outplay rather than the actual lane matchup itself, and that will be what people are really looking at there, rather than obviously looking for the big. Whereas, like you say, in top lane, it's a very volatile matchup and it can go either way. But it does look like we're going to be looking for an invade here on the red side, potentially.
I don't think it's an invade. I think it's a counter invade. I think they're expecting them to come to the jungle and trying to catch them out, but it's not going to happen.
Looks like a bit of a stalemate. But the problem here as well is they haven't got... Oh, yes, they got the ward in the top side here, but they haven't got anyone gathering the information for this. I personally feel that 4 people would be enough in this bush, and then gathering some information elsewhere on the map would be good as well.
Yeah, it will be exciting. They are going to send this version, they're not going to get anything. I'm surprised that they invested that wall onto the red buff. Maybe they were already expecting one of the invades, but with Centurion making so many roster swaps, I'd be surprised if they went for an invade so quickly, being
Yeah, as
used to
would
the
I.
team. But it looks like they are opting to start on the top side and path down to the bot side, whereas on the other side with Tartus, he's going to start at the bot side and up to the top side. And so looking at kind of mirrored paths happening
Well, look,
right here.
like you said, looking at the top side matchup, really, is you got the Renekton here, who's actually used his ward to ward that red buff, so he's not going to have that ward accessibility with the Jarvan ganks. So that might be something to look at as well, because Aurelia will be able to ward for the Sejuani. But they're basically both junglers going to start on buffs. But it looks like Jarvan's going to be looking down the bottom side here for potentially an early gank.
Yeah,
But
possibly.
he does think against it, and he wanders off to the Skull Crab.
What just surprised me, there's a lot of Doran Blade starts coming out, and in particular the Kai'Sa, I'm not sure that's the best pickup for her, because like I said, Jinx Morgana, they are quite a poke heavy lane, and if you are Kai'Sa, if you're going up for these kind of close autos, you could very well get caught out by a Jinx Rocket, and it could cause a lot of problems. But
Aurelia's going to go in here onto the Renekton. I don't think much will come of it, but maybe it will, but no, they do just walk out. But that's a lot of damage onto that Renekton straight away. And they are now looking up the river here for the Sejuani on the Scuttle Crab, which is an interesting thing as well. It's happening.
Ensuring used double team, and
They are trying to get
hit the
that.
charm.
Oh yes, he did hit the charm there, and I don't think much is going to come out for the flash comes out of the Sejuani there. But overall, he does walk away. Did he get the Scuttle Crab in that section of the map? Yes, he did. I couldn't see with all the champions in the way there, but yes, he did manage to pick it up. So they didn't put him behind too much. They just removed his flash, which is a handy ganking tool for a Sejuani early game, I believe. But they're going to be looking for a play here, but the hook is missed.